I just want to give you a bit of an insight into the AFL Enjoyers team. We're a bunch of unique individuals, Matsa, Sfenda, and Dean. We're going to engage with our minds and our hearts. We're going to exchange ideas, thoughts, and even our energy. And to speak from your heart, you need to have courage. You need to be honest and authentic. We're not always going to get it right, and sometimes you're not going to agree with us. But that's okay, because just like you, we care. Just like you, we're passionate about the game. So if you want to come along for the ride, join us at the AFL Enjoyers podcast, because we really enjoy the footy. Hello and welcome back to the AFL Enjoyers podcast. My name is Dean. I'm joined by a fellow enjoyer of the AFL, James Matsa. How are you going?
Yeah, not too bad yourself, mate.
Doing okay. We're a man short tonight, Matsa.
I know. No, Georgie, his nose was running quite a lot, running like Nicky Daicos. So we'll give him the night off and hopefully he recovers. Get well soon, Georgie.
That's it, George. Get well soon. We'll pretend like you're not just ducking the pod because Carlton lost again, but get well soon, mate.
You're probably right with that one. It's a contributing factor to the runny nose, I reckon.
I reckon, for sure, mate.
Yeah. Runny nose, tears down his face.
It all mixes together eventually.
Yeah, but see, we rocked up. We rocked up regardless of the result, you know.
Always, mate. We're seasoned veterans at losing.
That's it, man. That's it. We through thick and thin, man, we do it.
That's it, man. Always.
That's it.
But yes, Matsa, so it was an interesting week this week. Sort of started very slowly with the ANZAC round kicking off. A lot of the good games were later in the round. Just naturally, all the big Victorian teams had the prime slots.
Yeah, that's very true.
And we just had a bit of a boring one on Friday night. That was really late start. AFL fixturing. Come on, mate. We wait all week for the footy. You give us an 8 p.m. start. Come on, man.
Yeah. No, it's frustrating. It's frustrating, man. It's just started like seven on the dot. You know what I mean? Like, why is it 7:40? Like,
I know.
what? We got to wait for people to finish work and get there? Like, come on, nah.
I know.
People just duck out early on a Friday. Come on.
I know.
You know?
Seriously.
Saw yourself out. Come on.
Exactly right. And the Dogs, look, fair play to them. They were ready for the match.
They were.
Got stuck into, the Freo fans and players got stuck into Rory Lobb, which was pretty hilarious given that they showed more fight in that first minute than they did the rest of the game.
Yeah, bad.
And the Dogs just destroyed them, really.
Yeah. No, they really got into the spirit of, Lobb's return and the lobster beer and this and that. But it just made them look really foolish in the end, to be honest with you. Like, the dude left a sinking ship, let's be fair. It wasn't a good result for them. Not too many players can really hold their head up high. Like, the one I will say, we'll give him some flowers, is Caleb Sarong. He's a great player, man. Fantastic little player. But, overshadowed by Bont and English on the other side.
Bont was fantastic. Tim English, look, he gave away 52 hitouts to Sean Darcy, who had a great game in his own right. But that guy has just become not just a great ruckman, but his contributions all over the field are just insane lately. So there was that. I mean, there's not too much to say. Freo, it's really disappointing seeing them not try and play good football when they do have some pretty exciting players. You just mentioned Sarong, Brayshaw. Brody had a good year last year. Walters up forward. Like, there's some excitement there, but they just can't put it together.
Yeah, I think the thing that keeps me a little bit optimistic about them is that they have one of the youngest lists in the AFL. So if they had a bad season last year, and then this year it was the same thing as what they're doing right now, we probably wouldn't be as harsh on them. But, when you create those expectations and we know that they can play good football, you want to see it happen. Didn't happen. But yeah, we got to give our flowers to the Dogs as well. Yeah. Credit where credit's due. They played well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the Bond. He was huge. Did you see Caleb Daniel knock over Sean Darcy in a side-by-side bump?
Yeah. That's embarrassing for Big Sean, man. But, he did it for all the short kings out here. Shout out to Caleb Daniel, man. Did it for the boys, man.
That's it, man. What a guy. And also, I'm not sure if you saw as well, in the last quarter, there was what do you even call it? A pitch invader. He wasn't naked, so you can't call him a streaker, I guess. But it was a pitch invader. He got brutally tackled by the security. It was a good one.
We love those, mate. We love those. More of that at the footy. Actually, maybe not. No. We can't encourage that.
Not at all. And look, so Friday night, okay, it wasn't the most exciting of games. Just late start. It was hard to get excited for it, and then Saturday starts, and it's Port versus the Eagles. And we all sort of knew the Eagles are no chance. And Port just did their job, I guess.
Yeah, well, they sort of kept it somewhat in touch. It wasn't like an absolute smashing like it could have been, but Yeah, no, we don't expect much from Eagles this year, and we'll probably keep our comments on them pretty brief, especially because you've got some. Told me pre-pod that he had some stuff to say about our best mate, Cheeky Jace.
I'll get into that in just a moment.
Yeah.
I did want to just mention the Eagles. You did say there's not much to say about them. Luke Shuey got injured again. This guy, their injury list is ridiculous.
Man, I swear Shuey gets injured every 2 weeks. Like he's played. I feel like he's been injured on 3 separate occasions at least, maybe 4. You know, dude's just got to take it easy. Just take a bit of time on the sidelines, properly recover, because there's no point rushing yourself in and just destroying your body for these games where you're not really you're not really close to winning. Unfortunately,
exactly right. And when a lot of your midfield depth is just literally taken out of your team, all your experience, it's really tough on them. So,
and it puts a lot of pressure on dudes like Jimby and those young guys. And they don't need that. They need the older guys to look up to pull most of the weight. So
100%. Jai Culley actually kicked 4 for them, so that's interesting. They picked him up in the mid-season draft. Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, good. Yeah,
might have been the year before.
I think it was last year.
Was it last
and then we got Callan Dawson, our pick 2 last year. Remember that was that one.
Man. The key defender who's not really a key defender size. I know him.
Yeah, that one there. Anyway, North Later.
Finlayson kicked 5, so
good on him.
Bit of a feel-good story there.
Yeah, that's it, man. Comes back into the squad, does his thing. Good backup ruckman as well. He's a versatile player. Good kick.
Yeah,
flowers to Finlayson, I reckon.
Flowers. Yeah, you know what? Fair enough.
Let's give it to him, man. Let's give it. The special occasion, only a 2-man poll. We're gonna give a lot of flowers, because Georgie doesn't like giving flowers. He's a what's it called? He likes to restrict the flower giving, but I'm all for flowers, man. So
that's it. You're unhinged today.
Unhinged, man. That's it, man. That's it. If you see my town in Animal Crossing, just flowers everywhere, man. It's crazy.
That's it, man. Okay, Horn Francis time.
All right, here we go. Let's go. I'm going to let you cook, Dean. I'm going to let you cook.
Right, so here's the thing.
Get the popcorn ready.
Get the popcorn. Look, I was thinking about it all week. This actually isn't completely targeted to Horn Francis because I've had the realization that this kid just really has probably the worst agent in sports.
Who is his agent?
I've got no idea. I didn't even bother looking him up. But whoever is in charge of managing Jason Horn Francis...
Is it not Kane Corns?
Oh, he might as well be. But no, he's legit manager. He should be ashamed of himself. So here's what happened this week.
Right, let's go.
We know what happened last week. He was booed at the Collingwood game. What Collingwood? Anyway.
Every game.
He was booed at the game where there was no even North fans there. There was
the one in the gather round. Who did they verse in gather round? I can't even remember now.
And it's really irrelevant. But
yeah.
He's getting booed, and then there's all this controversy. David King and Corns are having a pissing contest of who's right. It's ridiculous, okay? So the week goes on, and I'll just like to remind everyone, it was ANZAC round, commemorating the ANZACs. Always a really good time of the year to reflect and, be thankful for what we have.
Yep.
And Jason Horn Francis' agents decide to have him do a sit-down interview with The Age in which Jason Horn Francis says the following, and I quote.
Here we go.
We know the draft age is very young. You're an 18-year-old playing elite level sport. If I had a son, I wouldn't want him to be the number 1 draft choice. Okay, weird attitude to have. You get a 10 grand term deposit. Bit of a joke, to be honest, that one. But here's the thing. But the scrutiny you get is massive. And then he goes on to say that all he did was make the courageous decision to go home.
All he did?
But
really?
the courageous thing kills me, Matsa, because we're in ANZAC round. These guys that enlisted in the war when they were his age were courageous.
Yeah, that's a fair call.
The people who are currently serving are courageous. There's lots of people in their everyday lives doing a lot more courageous things than Jason Horn Francis did.
Did he actually say himself, what I did was courageous?
Courageous, mate. Now, firstly, it's like calling yourself humble. That's just ridiculous.
No, you can't.
If someone else calls you courageous, that's one thing.
Yeah.
If someone calls you a humble person and describes you as a humble person, that's one thing.
Yeah.
You don't call yourself humble or definitely not courageous because that's literally the opposite of what you're doing there.
And I think let's just give Horn Francis a little bit of, credit. Not credit, but I'm going to defend him a little bit. Surely he didn't think I'm going to say that. Surely it was his agent or,
the whole thing is his agent, mate.
Yeah, his media, people who assist him with his media talks. That's just
100%.
The thing is, being courageous, it's not going back home. Being courageous is leaving home. And like you said, the Diggers, they left home. That's courageous, leaving the comfort of, of family and this and that.
Yeah. And even if we just bring it back to the footy stuff, and obviously that was just part of my greater point, which is showing just a tone deafness from his manager to feed those words in his ear.
I know.
It's ridiculous,
round.
mate.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But even just we take away the fact that it was ANZAC round, calling the decision again to go home courageous is just the wrong word. You can call it controversial. You can call it difficult, tough. All those things would be correct way to describe leaving a team after 1 year if it really didn't feel right to stay at North. That's fine, mate. No one's saying you had to stay, but just stop calling it courageous. Stop listening to your manager. Probably get a new one, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, honestly, it's just, I'm sort of over it at this point from the point of view of, I just honestly couldn't care less if he succeeds or not anymore. Like, I'm sure he will. He's a good player.
Yeah.
But all this stuff in the media, calling himself courageous, mate, just come on, give me a spell.
Yeah. Settle down.
Settle down. It was ANZAC round of all rounds, like completely the wrong time to describe yourself as courageous for this.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
I think the better way to have worded it is something along the lines of, I made the tough decision. I put myself first to, in a positive way. You know what I mean? I put myself first in a positive way. I did it for my mental health. Put it in that sort of
100%,
wording.
yeah.
But courageous without any other,
Context.
without any other context, it just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense.
The part where he also said, I wouldn't want my kid to be the number one pick, that's actually coming from another comment he made in that article, which was his stepdad didn't want him to be the number one pick. So basically, it's painted that Jason wanted to be the number one pick, being a competitive kid. And his dad was saying, no. Now, I'm sorry, mate. Jason Horne-Francis' stepdad, this is for you now.
Oh.
Your kid is trying to succeed in life, and you're actively telling him, don't be the number one pick because you're going to get scrutinized. You're setting this kid up for failure, mate. That's ridiculous. You're supposed to bring him up and give him the confidence that he can handle the pressures and be there for support. Joke. Anyway, I think everyone that's giving him information and what to say and all this guidance have handled it horribly. The media and the fans are going to behave and respond like fans and media will, but you guys can control what you say. So just turn it up a bit.
I don't think that we can just be silent because we're fans of the sport.
We're fans.
Like, this is, again, number one pick, and now his number one pick, and his story is shared between two clubs now. It's not just one club, it's two. So there's going to be two fan bases going at it. This is how it is. We can't just be quiet and, just be like, oh, yeah, it's all good. It's not all good. So
ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I think some good points there, Dana. Thank you for bringing it up, man. It's nice to discuss it with that Georgie being like, well, I think that he's only a teenager.
Usually George offers the other side here, so I'm glad that you're here to
I offered the other side, but not too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just a little bit.
That's it. Yeah, just that's to balance it a little bit. But shout out to Georgie, man.
Yeah, shout out George.
Give him his flowers. Flowers for Georgie, man.
Okay, so that we should move on to the actual football now. So Giants v the Lions. The Lions just got the job done in that one. Not sure if you had too much to say. Charlie Cameron kicked 7, which is huge.
So from now on, if you're a forward, just name yourself Cameron as your last name and
kick a bag.
You're gonna kick a bag. You're gonna do well, man. Yeah, Charlie Cameron, man, exciting player, man. Like he continues to get it done. And again, I've been saying this, the small forward market at the moment in the AFL is just fantastic, man. It's so fun. So many good young players. From the GWS side of things, I liked seeing, what's his name? Himmelberg go into the ruck, man. That changed the game. That actually really surged them forward and, made them look dangerous. But other than that, Brisbane just had to do their thing and, yeah.
Yeah, well, interesting you mentioned that about the ruck because I was thinking this week, how many of the actual best tap ruckmen in the game are also you'd consider a good footballer? Like, there's so many good tap ruckmen, in my opinion, that sort of lack any other skill around the ground. I'm not going to name particular names, but maybe like guys like Phillips from the Bombers. Like, he's provided some good aerial threat, but really he's a good tap ruckman, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think... Does Witts give that vibe of just being a good tap ruckman?
A little bit.
And that's it. Like, you know, and then around I don't know.
So that's what I'm saying is like...
Sean Darcy. But Darcy, he clunks marks because he's just huge.
Yeah, and even that's a good point because Tim English conceded 52 hitouts to Darcy on Friday night. And I think we would all agree that English had a great game still. So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get at is here, if Himmelberg's going to be playing more ruck, I don't think it matters that much because he's providing so much else around the ground.
Yeah.
And he's got a probably bigger tank, quicker getting around the ground, beating the ruckman next to him. So
Yeah. He's a free agent as well this year, man. North, get on it. Get on it. Do you have any sources there?
Unfortunately, no, because GWS is a very small team and small town. And,
Fair enough. Yeah. You got to get some more sources in Western Sydney, and
I do.
so we can find some stuff out.
100%, man.
Another player from that game, McCluggage, decided to have another good game. As soon as Dino brings out the sources, man,
check out the pod from a fortnight ago. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, exactly, man. Dino had some choice words. Actually, not really. It wasn't that harsh, but it was more so like, he's been bad. There's what's going on? Is he leaving? What's the go? And then he's like, okay, it's getting a bit sus. I've got to start playing good because Dean's noticed.
Yeah. The line was McLuggage is packing his bags.
He's packing his
at
McLuggage.
the end of the year.
Boom.
Little cheeky one there, but I think honestly my stance hasn't changed. He has improved, but I think it's more just trying to find a potential suitor at the end of the year, mate. He's not playing in his usual role. I find it hard to believe that what was he, like a top?
He was picked two.
Top three pick.
Twos. McGrath and then McLuggage.
And that
Actually,
midfield's
sorry, no. Taranto 2, I think. And then maybe McCluggage 3rd.
Yeah, that feels about right.
Yeah, no,
actually.
sorry, that's what it was, yeah.
But the midfield's not changing for the Lions in the next 4 or 5 years. I mean, Neil's not going anywhere. Ashcroft's only going to get better and more important to the midfield.
Man,
Dunkley.
He's so explosive and I love it when he just gets the ball out of the middle and just runs straight at the pack, man. Like that's
fantastic. Yeah. So the point
the modern
being,
midfielder.
Yeah, I don't know how much room there is in that engine room consistently anyway. He'll get minutes in there, but the Lions, I think they did what they needed to do. The Giants find a way to hang into games that maybe they shouldn't. So I guess credit to them for competing, but the wins just aren't going to gather, and they're looming to be a bottom 4 side at this stage.
Probably. Yeah, they're not a top 8 side. Let's just put it that way. They're
exactly right.
They're nowhere near it. They might be maybe 10 to 14 range, maybe
10 would be pretty huge the way they're going now.
You reckon?
Yeah. If you look at the ladder currently, they're 12th at the moment, but teams below them, Richmond's there, Gold Coast is thereabouts, and so is Freo. So yeah, they probably could finish anywhere from 12th to 15th, depending on luck and how things go. But
that's about what I said.
it is.
No, that's sad.
I guess you're right after all.
Always right.
Life lessons there. Well, look, not too much to talk about on that one. But how about the next game, Matsa? The Cats and the Swans.
Man,
I swear. Look, the joke's been said that the Swans just got the PTSD, like. Yeah. Replay the grand final, insert your joke, but it pretty much was that, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, man. And I think like when I was doing some stat research, not that that's not that that's everything in the game, but it was inside 50 marks, 22-5. And that just shows, the Geelong forward line is good, obviously, Cameron and Hawkins.
Lethal.
Lethal combination. But Sydney don't have, who are their forwards right now? Logan McDonald. And is that the guy's name, Logan? Yeah, Logan.
Was Franklin
and then
playing?
I don't believe Franklin was playing, or if he was, we didn't notice him. Amadi's gone out. There's not a lot of, apart from like Papley. Papley is always a gun, but like the rest, it's not a very potent forward line at the moment.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, no Franklin. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess that's one part of marking in the 50 is having the big forward, but a good team will lower the eyes and hit a target anyway. So that's
the thing, exactly.
Really
like Geelong aren't just relying on Cameron and Hawkins to get those marks. It's the kicker, which a lot of time is Brian Myers, who I didn't realize has like the most goal assists or most score involvements.
Oh wow!
They were saying that on the broadcast. I'm like, all right, flowers to Brian Myers. I always thought he was an average player, but shows what I know, man.
Hey, he's linking up the play, I guess. Getting the ball and lowering the eyes, like we just said, and hitting targets, and those big boys just feasting completely.
Yeah, even Stengels and those types.
Yeah, true. Ollie Henrys.
The Ollie Henrys, yeah. Actually, in credit to a guy, flowers to a guy rather that hasn't played in about 5 years, Sam Simpson. Or however long it's been. I don't know. It's been a while, man. I remember him being a Supercoach rookie like 7 years ago or something. It was ages ago. I swear.
Yeah, good on him. He played well.
Yeah, like when I saw him, like, what was it? It was a late in. a late inclusion, came in, kicked 2 goals. I'm like, there you go. He's welcome back, bruh. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Sam Simpson.
That's it. Simo.
The Swans had 3 behinds in the whole second half. That's it.
That was their entire score.
Yeah, I'm going to fact check it because I can't even believe what I wrote down. I'm going to have to just confirm that. But 3 behinds, I think it's right, dude.
Yeah, that's nuts.
3 behinds.
Yeah.
In the whole second half. That's just really poor. Wow.
It looks really poorly on it was a bad showing from their midfield, really. The 2 young up-and-comers, Goulden and Warner, didn't get enough of it. No. Dangerfield went crazy. You know what I mean?
Back the clock, did he?
That was some vintage danger. I just want to say just a little interesting thing here.
Mm-hmm.
The what's it called? The 1%ers, right? I don't know if that's much of a stat to go off.
Love the 1%ers.
It's a G up of a stat, but it was 34-53 in the favor of the Swans. Okay. So were the Cats they were just taking the piss? You know what I mean? They were just they were cruising, man.
I think that's when you win by almost 100, I guess.
You don't have to go that extra mile. You're just
coming easy.
That's it. So that was interesting. Maybe you don't want the 1%ers, man. Just be lazy, man.
And 1% is overrated. They're only 1% after all.
Exactly. You might as well get a solid 50% in one go, not a bunch of 1%ers.
But I'll tell you what,
it's like in basketball, 3-pointers is better than 2. You know what I mean?
3 beats 2, man.
That's it.
Quick maths,
bro. Shout out to the process, man.
That's it. Trust the process, man.
That's it. Brought out the broom, the boys, man. That was good.
100%, man.
Bravo.
Cats are 1 win out of the 8 now, Matsa, and I just want to wind back the clock about 3 weeks ago when the Cats had lost 3 in a row.
Oh, there.
And I'm starting to think now, the start of the season, it didn't look good, but their only bad loss in that was the Gold Coast one. Every other loss was the Blues, who were sort of up and about, and it was a close game till 3/4 time, and the Blues just finished them, and the Pies, who are a really good team.
Yeah.
And then, so they've lost those 2. Then they lost to the Suns, alarm bells.
That was a big shock to everyone. But
including them. And I think now they're proving exactly how good they are because they're 1 win out of the 8. And I know they haven't had the toughest opposition until the Swans now, but they've been winning convincingly. So I think they'll be pushing the 8 before we know it, to be honest.
They could be pushing the 4, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah, no, it's still, they're 2 wins out.
It's too early. It's too early to rule them out for, contention again.
Actually, they're 1 win out of top 4. It's so close still.
1 win out of top. Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah, they're on 12 points. Melbourne and Essendon are 16 with Adelaide and Brisbane and Port. So it's all the whole 8's pretty close, to be honest.
There you go.
All right, let's move on now. The Hawks fell short again.
Yeah.
This time to the Crows, who won by under a goal.
Yeah. Look, again, I think I said it last week. They don't lose any admirers with this defeat. 2 weeks in a row. But as a fan, which I'm not a fan, but I can imagine as a fan, that would just suck. You want to see the wins, you want to see the reward for effort, and those type of close wins from a young side can really, elevate them and push them forward. But you know what? Again, good on them again. But hopefully, who do they have next week? It's not us, is it? Hopefully, it's not us.
We've played them already.
Oh yeah, we have.
We'll bring it up in a moment. But what I will say about the Hawks, not only did they lose 2 close games, but the nature in which they lost them, last week was Himmelberg's specky, epic moment.
Yeah.
And this week, Fogarty's kicked one from the pocket. He was out of bounds when he kicked it. So, wow.
That's
a harsh way to lose 2 close games. It's not like they just, there was a scrappy goal. There was some quality moments. They're playing the Dogs at Marvel. Tough one.
Yeah, they're going to lose. Oh, you don't know, man. It's probably going to be another game like these, man, where they're close, they're thereabouts.
You wanted to mention your boy Connor Nash.
Oh, Connor Nash, yeah, he broke Saligo in half. That tackle was huge, man. I'm surprised, we didn't hear anything about broken ribs or anything. And another thing with him is that he did that spear tackle, kicked a clutch goal. What was it, a few minutes later? I think it was a few minutes earlier where he snapped that out of the pack. And I think he had another set shot from about 50, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Yeah. Man, he's a good player, man. They've got one there in Connor Nash.
Well, I think Sam Mitchell's identified.
Flowers, you could say.
You could say flowers. I wouldn't stop you.
I'm gonna go ahead. Flowers for Connor Nash. Let's go.
I'll tell you what, though. I think Sam Mitchell's figured out sort of the way that modern football is played. You do need big bodies in the midfield.
Yeah.
Like even the Cats with their great teams, they threw blitzarves on ball at times. They had Dangerfield, big body. The Hawks now with Will Day, who's filling out his physique, but he's tall. Connor Nash, he's a big boy. You can't just simply, like back in the day, have like smaller mids running around. You need to mix it in with a bit of muscle. Paddy Cripps-esque, Bond.
Yeah.
So good on them for really pushing with him as a midfielder because it was very raw coming in, obviously being not from Australia, being Irish. So,
So you forget that because you look at him out there and you don't think that he doesn't look lost at all, man. Doesn't look lost at all. So
yeah, they've really persisted with him. So fair play to them that it's paying off now. It's taken a lot of investment to get him to this point. So, that was all I had for that match. Now, the next one was the Blues and the Saints. Now, we do have some notes from our friend George, who, like we said, he's not here today due to being unwell. But
so I might have to bring it up and I'll have a little scan over what he had to say. First of all, let's just shout out the Saints, man. Top of the league.
I'll tell you what.
Top of the league, man.
I'm just going to say it from now. I think all that happened in that game was Michael Voss got outcoached. It was an arm wrestle goal for goal until the third quarter, and then the Blues lacked a correct plan going to their 50, and Ross just sort of identified that, set their team up from the back for the counter-attacks, and they just punished the Blues. The Blues had so many players with heaps of touches.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't punishing them enough.
And it's funny, that's something that George said. There was 4 mids for Carlton. Carlton Bulls won so much of the ball. Walsh 38 posies, Chera 39, Akers 36, Cripps 34. And then the most posies the Saints mid had was Sinclair on 27 and Ross on 24. Interesting point there, It's obviously, they're not getting it into the 50 well enough. According to Georgie, Harry Mackay had a mare of the game and lost a significant amount of confidence in his kicking to the point where it's comical, he reckons. So,
well, this has always been a talking point, but I guess the difference now, obviously he's lost some confidence, but when the pressure's building and the expectations building on this Carlton team, those confident hits with the key forward, they fall pretty quickly. Set shot kicking is the pressure moment. All the eyes are on you.
That's true. I never thought of it. That is the highest pressure moment of an AFL game.
Pretty much.
That's up. Actually, you know what? The only thing that's higher, I would say, if you're a key defender or one-on-one with a key forward, that would suck.
Yeah. That
would suck so bad. Because usually you're going to lose because as soon as you look at your guy, which you should do because, you got to, have some visual awareness of where your guy is, the umpires call it against you. So
100%. And I've just realised here as well that George is saying that a lot of the Carlton fans are questioning Voss's coaching ability as well. So it's probably got to do as well with, he's saying here Carlton played kick mark when they're not a kicking team and actually can't kick. So
what's the thing? You don't have Sard, you don't have Doc who are their best, kick-to-kick type players.
Yeah.
It was a Hills already. In the last quarter, they were down by 20 and they had to take the game on and they didn't. Why?
Yeah. Why? And I think I had a few stats written down for this one as well, which sort of just goes to show that even though you can do well in certain aspects of the game, there's a lot of sort of nuance that goes into actually winning a game of football. So by that I mean, what have I got here? The Blues had 100 more disposals. So you mentioned before they did have a bunch of guys getting a lot of the footy. 40 more marks, yet 5 less inside 50s. So firstly, credit to the Saints defence.
Yeah.
It was a Ross special on Saturday night. But secondly, that does say a lot about Carlton as well, because we've seen the Cats, they've got their 2 big forwards. We've seen it work well. We've seen Richmond's 2 forwards, Rewald and Lynch, work really well together. And we've seen Carlton's work really well together as well. But lately, they just can't kick over 100 points. I think I saw on the first crack show on Fox Footy that of the last, let's say, 20 games, they've only hit over 100 points a handful of times, which when you think about it, is probably a surprising thing to hear, considering those forwards they've got.
Exactly. Mackay and Kerno, they're 2 of the top 5 forwards in the league, we'd say. 2 of the top 5 key forwards, both Coleman medalists. You'd think more goals would be coming their way in the team entirely. Do they need to get more goals from the midfield? I don't know what it is, man.
Well, I think it's just going away from thinking we've got these 2 big forwards, we're going to kick it to them every time. Firstly, I think they need to just sort out their forward running patterns better. But yeah, it all comes down to lowering the eyes and hitting the open target, because I'm sure that they're double teaming Mackay and Kerno. There's going to be someone that's more open that you can kick to. So bit of panic station for the Blues, but mate, I'll say it again. The Saints are just a smart team. They're a hard-working team. very well organised. And they've got guys like Dan Butler in the forward 50 who's hit form again. It's just electrifying. Like, he would just be there at the feet of the forward, pouncing on opportunities. Mitch Owens.
Yeah, they have a bunch of dudes you forget about him. You forget about Butler. Mitch Owens, he's becoming a star in front of our eyes, as a second or third year player. Machado, man, good on him. He's flowers against a Machado, man. Come on.
Yeah, gonna be crazy with the flowers, Matsa.
No, right. No.
George is messaging me now.
No, he's upset. He can't even see this video right now. He can sense the rosy flowers just getting, scattered everywhere.
Now look, George, he was also saying, and we're moving on to the next game now.
Yeah.
He was saying I was silly to tip North. He didn't use those exact words, but I could tell. I was getting a strong energy from him. I did stick to my emotional guns. I tipped North against the Suns, and I'll tell you what, North, I'm not even going to vent today about what I saw because I'd be giving more effort than they did. That was, considering it was Goldstein's 300th, considering it was ANZAC round, I can't believe how little fight they showed.
It's poor.
Oh,
it's
Matsa.
Poor, like, look, I think the thing for me, like, I had a bunch of stuff going on, so I could hardly watch the game, which was worked out quite well.
Blessing.
The thing about it is that to this point of the season, I thought Gold Coast were the most disappointing team in the league. We just got smashed by them. What does that say about us, man? Like, regardless of where we're meant to be, you've got to get a competitive game against these guys. Like, it's not good enough.
Well, I'll tell you what, we played exactly the same as last week, excluding the first quarter, because we kicked 5 goals in the first quarter last week. We barely kicked 5 for the game this week. But our defending was exactly like it was last week. The only difference being we were playing Gold Coast instead of Brisbane. That's why we lost by about 50 instead of 100. Our aerial presence, or lack thereof, is disgusting, Matsa. Like, Ben Mackay's come back from injury. There's talk that he wants to leave, go to Carlton, perhaps be with his brother. I'll say this, mate. If your heart's not in it, just leave. Because you were just shocking again today. The other day. Nick Larkey, I've never seen this guy jump at a footy in my life. He's either marking it on the lead, getting a free kick, or just not touching the ball.
Yeah.
And considering I do rate him, you need to find the ball, mate. Jump at it.
If he's one of the best set shots in the AFL. You got to get your hands on the footy, mate. Shocking. Otherwise, you're not going to get those set shots, man.
Yeah.
You're useless at that point.
As good as Cam Zurhaar can be, he gets in these modes sometimes where he just gets the ball and thinks that he can barrel through 3 guys. Mate, just handball to the bloke next to you.
Yeah, he goes into a bit of a hero mode.
100%, mate. Our whole defense is just shambles. They're 5 meters off their player at all times. Kingy hadn't kicked a bag all year. He's kicked 5. Of course, we played him in a form.
Yeah.
We went 42 minutes without a goal at one point against Gold Coast.
Man, this is humble pie, man.
Humble pie. No,
right
I'll eat it, mate.
Yeah,
I'll eat it all week.
Yeah.
I'm reading through my notes here. Cunnington, finished. I'm sorry, but we all love Cunners to death.
Yeah.
What a story to come back. But this guy just looks past it, mate.
Yeah.
He don't argue anyone anymore. He's slow. He's not running back. And then it sort of is infectious because LDU, his attitude's just gone to shit. It's bad, Matsa.
Yeah, no, it's no good. It's no good. Like, again, glad I couldn't watch a lot of that game because it's frustrating, man. It's frustrating.
No, and I'll tell you what, when the weekend ends with me watching Harley Reid highlights, you know it's been a bad week. Like, I'm ready. Let's get him, mate. Let's go.
That's it, man. That's it. Him, the Wiz Watson. There's options in this year's draft. So hey, maybe blessing in disguise, man.
No, look. We'll talk about it probably more towards the end of the year when we start doing team planning for next year. But
that's it. Because we're part of. We're part of.
Oh, we're part of it, man. I'm going to be so excited for the off season. But I will say this: Clarko has to. He simply has to, and I'm sure he already is.
Yeah.
Be getting in players' ears, veteran players that he will trust, big bodies that are ready to go, and he's good at recruiting players. Yeah. Clarko.
Hey, Harry Himmelberg, man.
Harry Himmelberg.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah,
you really enjoyed playing as a defender, yeah. Yeah,
no, he seriously is really good at getting free agents, and he's also good at drafting. So put those two together, and please just next year be better than this year.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm filthy at that.
Credit to Gold Coast, but
yeah, actually,
flowers to Gold Coast. And you know what? I do want to mention quickly. Took Miller, bit of a long-term injury. Shout out to you, great player, man. It's a shame that you're not going to be playing footy for I think it's a couple months he's out for. I think it's a meniscus tear, if I'm not mistaken.
He was lucky to avoid an ACL that didn't look good, but Well done to the Suns. Look, as bad as North were, they were really good.
Yeah,
And
they still have to hold up their end of the bargain, kick them goals,
100%.
push it forward, and they did it.
Yeah, and they completely feasted on what was a poor North team. So well done to them. Now we got to the real footy on Anzac Eve, which was last night. So
sorry, Tina. It just clicked to me what you said.
It felt like it in a way.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Easter, there's Catholic Easter, there's Orthodox Easter, and then there's footy Easter.
That's it. Good call. But it just sort of felt like that's when the round started for me. I was just miserable all weekend.
Same. And this is actually this is a bit more for the Supercoach podcast, but after the GWS game, it all went really badly. And then the first half, I have Brody Grundy. He didn't even play. He didn't play. What did he play for 10 minutes in the first half? Oh man. But then it got a bit better.
It got better. And look, the game was a good one for the most part.
It was, yeah.
I was sort of flagging over the last few weeks that I wasn't sure who the Tigers were because I had a few games in a row in the wet. Some of them were competitive. Others, they sort of faded, like the Sydney game. And I thought, look, this is a great opportunity. It was nice conditions last night. Playing a really good team. What are they made of? And look, honestly, they held themselves accountable pretty well for the most part, but Melbourne just steamrolled them in the last quarter.
Yeah, they did. There's players who were showing some stuff, like Samson Ryan had a couple big marks, and he could have ended the game with 3 goals, but he missed a couple set shots. Hopper looks like he's a proper midfielder, man. Like he's finally getting his time to shine in there, which is good. Taranto's a monster. Taranto is like, it's weird because I feel like his efficiency's gone up as well, disposal wise. Like, he just seems like he's more effective when he's out there. So yeah, maybe that's just the way Richmond sort of structure their team, and it allows him to, play the ball the way he wants. I don't know, but yeah, proved big time, and you look like you have something to say.
I was just going to say Van Rooyen from Melbourne. That guy was playing pretty poorly. He wasn't having an impact until the last quarter. And apparently he was ready to get subbed off. That's what Simon Goodwin said. His next interchange was going to be the sub. And
so he's like, nah, not letting that happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to clunk a couple contested marks. What did he kick? 3 goals in the last quarter?
I think so. And more than that, he was just clunking. Like he was turning half chances into goals.
Contested marks, man. That's where big forwards make their money.
Huge.
Something I like with Van Rooyen, the thing I find interesting about him is that every time he goes for a set shot, he kind of like, so he'll have the ball in his hands and he'll kind of like, sort of, I don't know, he'll sort of like, it's like he's lining up the sights. Like he must be like a Call of Duty fan or something, because he just kind of goes like, he does that little thing. So Melbourne fans have two of the best, like set shot preparers in the league with, Ben Brown. Running, 50 meters for a 30-meter set shot, and they have Van Rooyen who does that. So he winks at the goal umpire or something. I don't know what he's doing.
It works for both of them. They're both pretty good kicks at goal. So.
They are both very straight kicks. So keep it going, boys, and we're going to keep making fun of you for that.
That's it.
So, yeah.
I'll tell you what. Someone else who played really well for Melbourne, who's just quietly having a really good year, little Chandler. Good little player, that one. Like he sort of positions himself well all over the ground. He'll move up to the wing. He'll get involved in handball chains, and then he'll just finish in the goal square. Like he'll have a little tap in.
Did he kick 2 or 3?
I think he had 3 in the end.
Yeah. No, but he does make his influence known, which is rare for a small forward or even for a half forward, because usually they sort of just, they hide at points. But yeah, Chandler, another really good one. Van Rooyen, another good one. Cozzy Pickett. There's some good young players in that squad.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not just, it's not just Gawn, Oliver, Petrarca. There's a lot of good support there.
And someone you just didn't mention there was Jack Viney. He won the medal that they give out for that game last night. And
they give a medal? But anyway.
I'm pretty sure there was a medal.
Why not give him more medals,
if
man?
not, give it to him anyway.
That's it, man. That's it, man. Give him his medal. Give him his flowers.
You really are unhinged today. But yeah, well done to him. Their midfield brigade, we know how good it is. Gawn was back. Looked like he didn't miss a beat, really. Just clunking marks, bumping guys off the ball.
That's it.
Looked fantastic. So, yeah, look, well done to the Ds. It was a pretty tough game. I still don't know what to think of the Tigers, but each week I say that, dude, they're 16th at the moment. Like, at a certain point, we need to just say they're done. Like,
and they don't have their pick this year. So if they stay that bad, I'm pretty sure it's GWS's because of Taranto and Hopper and all that.
Would have to be, yeah.
They've lost a lot of draft capital, so,
I think they'll win more games throughout the year. Like, they just seem like they're close but not quite there, but it's not good looking of the ladder at the moment.
No. They need to start stringing together some wins, man. They really do.
Even North on top of you, man. Come on. Jeez.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Anyway.
Now we come to today. We're recording on a Tuesday night post ANZAC Day
That's it.
match, and what a game it was, firstly.
That's what ANZAC Day is meant to be. That's what ANZAC Day footy. That's what we want to see, man. It's fantastic.
I had a sneaky feeling the Bombers would put up a really good fight, and they sort of exceeded my expectations until the last quarter.
Yeah.
Man, to be 28 points up and then within 10 minutes of the last quarter, your lead is gone, and then Collingwood ends up comfortably controlling that game and seeing it through in the last 5 minutes. All credit goes to Collingwood, though. Like, wow.
Absolutely, man. They've just got so much depth of class and good ball users, and the running is just immeasurable, man. Like, I think a dude who we're going to give flowers to every week for the rest of the year, probably. Daicos. God, what a player Nick Daicos is. And
ANZAC Day medalist.
man, he's going to win probably every medal that he can possibly win. He's won the Rising Star. He's going to win. So he's won the ANZAC Day medal. He's probably going to win Norms. He'll probably win the Brownlow this year. It's between him and Bond at this point.
He would be in the top 3, surely.
Yeah, I reckon out of the first 6 rounds, he would have probably 3 best on grounds already, and maybe a couple 1 or 2 voters. And see, the thing that I like about Nick Daicos, right, beyond the fact that he uses the ball so well, when he's running around and someone's looking for an option, right? Say Pendle's got the ball, he's looking for an option. He's running around, he'll have someone tracking him from the opposition. So they're running towards him to make sure he doesn't get the footy. And in that time, Steel Sidebottom's running. What's it called? Maynard's running. They've just got other options. So he has so much gravity because, you see him running, you got to track him. And then other guys open up and everything opens up.
And oftentimes when he's doing that, he'll actually look at his teammate and sort of tell them, like, go the other way.
Yeah, like he'll look at him with his eyes and go,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, mate. Obviously, he's very skillful.
Yeah.
The guy today, he had 40 touches and 2 goals, 2 clutch goals to win the game, essentially. He was part of that wave in the last quarter.
Yeah.
40 disposals. But the reason he gets the ball so often is because his work rate is the best in the league. I don't think I'm watching any midfielder currently who works as hard as him.
That's it. Second and third, chance runs.
He gets involved at every contest multiple times. And if he's not getting the ball, he's creating space for others. So this guy is just ridiculous. But like you mentioned as well, Sidebottom, 30 touches and a goal. Josh Daicos, who's having a great year in his own right.
I know, man. Being overshadowed so much by his little brother, but hey, it doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter.
He loves it. He's so happy for him. You can tell. Like,
yeah,
they're really close. Love to see that.
It's cute, man. I like it.
It's very cute. And I will say, though, as good as Collingwood was at the end there, I don't want to go too much longer without mentioning just well done to Essendon. Honestly, they've come a long way.
Yeah,
I've given them a lot of stick. Until recently, I've sort of turned around.
Yeah, I think it was last week when they beat Melbourne.
Yeah,
was it the week before? Dino sort of turned around, but every week it was like, oh, they won, but no, it's good that we're all on the same. We're on the Essendon not bandwagon. But, we're with them now. We can see the positive stuff and the efforts there.
Well, look,
credit where it's due.
More than I dislike the Bombers, I enjoy AFL. So if I'm going to see good footy, I'll get around it. They were really excellent. Sam Wiedemann, I feel like he had a bit of an arrival game. If they saw the game out and won it, I think people would be talking about it more, but he was really good. Guys like Martin, obviously we know Parrish is really good. They were without Merritt today, so Setterfield sort of stepped up a bit at times.
Caldwell stepped it up.
He played a
lot of midfield time, and he looks pretty good in there. It's obviously just a shame for him that there's better options when Merritt's back.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Davey Jr. is only going to get better. He's got some real zip about him.
He's forward pressure. They were talking about it. They were talking about it during the half time and quarter time and this and that. That despite the counting stats not being there, that forward pressure, it creates turnovers, creates goals. So
100%. And even their defense, none of them are really massive key defenders, but they're all sort of playing their part, having really good positioning, like Ridley, Redmond, Zerk Thatcher, Kelly. They're all sort of, you wouldn't consider key position size, but they all work together and form a really solid back unit as well. So well done to the Bombers, but Collingwood was just absolutely electrifying in that last quarter.
Pies. They're the boys, man. They're the boys.
They do, in my opinion, have the best in-game adjustments, specifically from a losing position in the whole league. No team can turn around leads like that so consistently.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe I've really got to focus a bit more and zero in on what they're doing, but yeah, I can't pinpoint it, but they do it, man.
I was paying a bit of attention to it today.
Yeah.
And
what did you see, man?
What I did notice was, firstly, they get a few extra numbers around the ball, so they just make it really congested around the ball. But then, crucially, when they do kick the ball, it's never towards the boundary, unless there's a wide open bloke. They'll go sort of where their centre part of the centre wing, you could call it. So instead of wide wing, it's more centre wing, so that when they win the ball, they can go right in the corridor within one handball. It's a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, fair enough. So you'd say that they're sort of, that centre square, they're sort of hugging the line a little
Correct.
bit. And then it's corridor almost.
Yeah, and you win the ball from there. One handball at the back, one to the corridor, and all of a sudden you're running inside 50.
That's it. And then you have Elliott presenting. You have Ash Johnson presenting.
He's good too, mate.
Checkers who can, worst case scenario, you just bomb it to Checkers and he brings it down. Yeah.
Ash Johnson, actually, they picked him in the mid-season draft as well. That's how you pick in the mid-season, mate. That guy can play.
I think you just go high ceiling players. You know what I mean? And see what happens. Because when I feel like if you play it safe and you just go, oh yeah, we'll get this little halfback flanker who's all right. There's so many of those in the league. You end up turning half of your good mids, well, not good mids. You end up turning midfielders like, who don't, when there's not enough midfield spots, you end up turning them into halfback flankers anyway. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And actually, speaking of Ash Johnson, I've got a bit of a cheeky player comp.
Oh.
A player from maybe about 10 years ago. I'm not going to tell you who he played for.
Okay.
But this dude here.
So player comp to Ash Johnson?
To Ash Johnson.
Okay.
A retired player.
Retired player. All right. Are you going to give me some sort of hints? Like, what am I
he played for North.
He played for North.
And he was a forward as well, obviously.
Aaron Edwards?
Yes.
I don't know why. Like, I could feel it. I was like,
you could feel it, huh?
I could feel the Aaron Edwards energy coming, man.
I swear, same player.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a very fond memory of me and my papu, which is, Dean's mentioned them before. Greek word for grandpa. He'd be like, Dimitri, which is my Greek name. Aaron Edwards from Samoa. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, whoa, he's from Samoa. I'm like, that's cool, man. I'm pretty sure it was Samoa or something.
He had his great moments in a North jersey.
Yeah, man. Thank you for number 27, man. Thank you for bringing that up, man.
Aren't they similar though? Like the marking for like sort of medium-sized forward, pretty athletic.
Yeah, I like that, man. I'm gonna go home and be watching Aaron Edwards highlights.
Oh, done.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man. Well, look, that sort of wraps up the games. Now we actually got 8 out of 9 tips, our best score yet, and the only one we got wrong was North.
Was the emotional tip.
The emotional tip. So, sorry, George, we let you down on that one by tipping emotionally, but
all right.
I promise we'll be better this week because I'm never tipping North ever again. We start off the round Friday night. None of this 8-10 business. It's 7:50, so much more like. No, we're at Marvel Stadium. The Saints are hosting the Power.
All right, George is gone.
We've got George's tips.
I've got George's tips, from Facey. He's gone with the Saints, and I can't argue with him, to be honest with you. And I don't want Port to win. So
yeah, look, I have a vested interest in North's first round pick that Port owes us, so I'm never tipping them. But
so it's almost like we're just like hoping to will these losses into existence for Port.
But no, look, the Saints deserve. They're first. They're at home.
Yeah,
we're not tipping against them.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't go against that. What's the next game?
So we've got Saturday 1:45. The Lions hosting the Dockers.
Oh,
who, to be honest, at the Gabba are no chance.
Absolutely. That's going to be three Lions picks because Georgie's also picked the Lions. I'm cool with that.
Done.
No further action required.
Yep.
On that one.
Sounds good. Now this game can go either way, in my opinion. The Swans at the SCG hosting the Giants. So you've got the derby there.
Ooh.
Bit of a rivalry game, this one. It always gets a bit heated, bit aggressive of a contest, this one. The Giants seem to stick into games, like I mentioned earlier. Swans, I don't know what they are this year. They're up and down like a yo-yo. What do you think?
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one because the Sydney Swans, they do need to respond. You know, that is prime need to respond category right there.
But is there not a world where GWS wins?
You know what, man? You know what? I think I'm gonna go with. Nah, I find it hard to go against the Swans. To be honest, I find it hard to go. I'm gonna go Swans.
The bounce back, you think?
Yeah, that's it, man. They need to respond. Come on, respond, Swans.
Who's George gone?
He's gone with the Swans as well.
Genuinely, I'm actually going to go Giants.
Oh, there we go.
I think the fact that they stay in games, this Sydney team, I don't think will kill them off.
Looking at George's things kind of screw me up. I want to not look.
Okay.
I want to not look.
We'll
Just
look
so
at
I
him
can.
for the tiebreakers, maybe.
Yeah, maybe done.
All right, done. So we'll go Swans there as a Enjoyers pick. Doggies then host the Hawks at Marvel.
Hawks at Marvel.
First game at Marvel, I believe, for the Hawks of the year.
I'm comfortable with the Dogs. Like, they're just the more experienced, better team. Hawthorn will make it competitive as they've been doing every week, but it's hard to go against the Doggies. They're just coming back from a good win in Perth as well.
Yeah, I think the Dogs starting to hit a little bit of form now. They beat the Tigers recently. They've obviously got the win over there in Perth, which, you know, even against the poor Freo team isn't easy to do. So, yeah, Hawks, hopefully they can make it competitive again, but I think the Doggies will have too much. Saturday night, primetime. Man, take your pick out of these two games before we even tip of this one.
Yeah.
Would you rather watch Melbourne v North or would you rather watch Eagles v Carlton? There's not much excitement.
That's shocking. Which is the North game first?
By 5 minutes. So we'll go there first. Melbourne by 100 points, and I'm not joking.
NAW.
Oh, no.
No.
Fair.
North are not winning against Melbourne.
That's fair, but
they
it
are
hurts.
not winning, and it hurts to say. But we're not near ready for a team like Melbourne.
It's fair, but it hurts to hear the Nor against your own team.
I know. And I gotta say, I'm going no with Melbourne the second week in a row. They had me scared. Last week.
True.
But they held strong, and I'm gonna, keep them. I'm gonna go again with them this week, man.
Yeah.
NAW, no.
Fair enough. Yeah, look, I'm going, honestly, Melbourne by 90 plus points. I'm not even joking.
Yeah,
remotely.
we don't need to look at George's tips. I'm sure it was probably North. I don't know.
There is no world where George tipped North.
no way. He hasn't even tipped us for our wins, bro. Oh, here you go.
Cool. Okay, but then, like I mentioned, Eagles hosting Carlton.
Nah. Carlton have to win.
Carlton have to win, but I'm
Over
going to
at
say
Perth.
this. Yeah, they have to win, and I think they will win. But I'm not saying here, not just do they have to win, Carlton, score over 100 points and win by 40 or 50. This is West Coast depleted. Your midfielder's back. You maybe will have Sard back. If not, doesn't matter. Get out there.
They probably won't risk Sard in Perth.
Doesn't matter. Just go out and smack them. Actually give your fans some hope that you're a good team, not just a mediocre team.
Yeah, no, well said.
But yeah, Carlton for sure. We're assuming George tipped Carlton. Or maybe is he that emotional that he tipped the Eagles?
No need to check. No,
No, we're not checking.
I'm sure. Because I don't want to see the rest. I want it to be more. I don't want to just be copying his tips because I was doing it at the first few and I'm just like, no. Let's think of mine.
Well, I think this one we might not all agree. Essendon's hosting the Cats at the G.
Oh, this is going to be tough, but Essendon's going to lose a second in a row. Cats are going to win, man. Cats are going to win. I'm going with them. I like the Bombers a lot, but right now, Geelong are just in such hot form. They're smacking people around.
I do just have a feeling, though, maybe I'm misremembering, but do the Bombers give the Cats a bit of a game, even when they're not the best? I feel like they have surprised them in the last couple of years a few times. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I have the worst memory of all time, so I don't know.
I'm honestly going to go the Bombers. I saw enough today, despite that ending, and that's what Collingwood does. They've got the crowd on their side.
Georgie.
I'm going to go Bombers to win a close game.
And Georgie has gone with Cats.
I knew it. He would never tip the Bombers against.
Nah, he hates the Bombers. Yeah.
So 2 weeks in a row, I've backed in the Bombers. Don't forget this, Bombers fans.
That's it, man. Dano's on your side. He's, it took some time, but he's on your side.
It was yuck to say, but yeah.
Yeah, bad.
Fair enough. No, you've impressed me. I'll give you that. You're in the top 4. They are 4th and the Cats are 9th, so I'm just saying. Anyway, we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, it's because they're higher on the ladder, they're going to win. We've been higher on the ladder against the teams like we've versed the last 3 weeks, probably. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, but top 4 is top 4 compared to 16th versus 18th, man. Come on.
Fair, but no, I'm going with Geelong. They're in red hot form.
Fair. Okay. Good game though.
Yeah, that's
Keen to watch that
one to watch. Yeah, big time.
Tigers hosting the Suns at Marvel. Now this is interesting.
Say that again, sorry. The
Tigers hosting the Suns at Marvel, not at the G.
I think for me it's pretty easy. I'm just going to go with Richmond at Marvel. They weren't bad against Melbourne. They got beaten by a better team. That's enough. That's enough for me. It's just the logical. I don't know.
I keep saying I think in my head Richmond's better than what they're actually doing in terms of wins and losses.
I was going to say, before you say anything, Carmichael Hunt does not play for Gold Coast anymore.
Oh, Richmond.
There we go. Done.
Look, I'll go Richmond given they're the home team.
Yeah.
But I do think there is a world that the Suns win. And I'm not kidding.
Of course there's a world in where they win. In form, you know.
George loves a home team, so I'm assuming he's picked Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. And then last game of the round is Adelaide hosting the Pies at Adelaide Oval.
Hosting the Pies. At Adelaide Oval.
I'm going to go Collingwood. Crows have won, I think, 4 in a row, and they got lucky last week. I think the Pies have a bit too much know-how.
That's a fair call. I was going to say Adelaide to be controversial, but you've swayed me with just that. You know, I'm happy to go with Pies as well.
Cool. Okay, so just to summarise those tips there, we've got Saints to beat Port. We've got the Lions at home against Freo. Sydney against the Giants.
Yep.
Doggies to beat Hawthorn. Melbourne to beat North. Carlton to beat the Eagles. Cats to beat the Bombers. Tigers at home against the Suns, and Collingwood to beat the Crows. Has George gone? I think George went Adelaide, if I remember reading his tips.
He did, man.
So just let it be known that George did actually back in the Crows.
Yeah. No, shout out to Georgie, man. He's maybe it's the Carlton fan, you know. He just saw Collingwood, was like, ah.
It's a bit suspicious that he hasn't tipped Collingwood, he hasn't tipped the Bombers.
These tips were sent through at 3 p.m, so maybe he didn't have this game as a
maybe.
He didn't think of it because, you know, maybe he forgot. It'd been like a week since he'd seen Nick Daicos play, and he just, you know, Nick Daicos.
Fair enough, man. Yeah. Well, that sort of brings us to the end of the pod. I would just like to remind everyone, we're on the road to 100 subs.
That's it,
Remember, when we get 100, George will race Bo McCreary.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Bo's agreed. So he's sort of just waiting on you guys now.
That's it, man.
George has been stretching for the last month.
That's it, man.
He's waiting. Make it happen. Yeah, hit the like and sub button on the video as always. Check out our Supercoach video, which always comes out every week as well. We've got, what have we got now?
TikTok's going to be on its way, apparently.
TikTok.
I might try to be more active on Twitter. No guarantees.
We've got Twitter. We've got TikTok, Facebook, Spotify as well.
We've got it all, man.
We've got it all, man. What more do you need?
LinkedIn. Yeah.
I know. If you're sick and tired of listening to Kingy and Montagna and all those boys, they're nice boys, but you know.
Welcome to the real on the couch.
That's it. This couch is more comfortable than this.
Absolutely, man.
And we dress more comfortably as well.
That's it.
All good, guys. We'll see you on the next one. George, get better. We'll see you next week as well.
See you guys.
Take care. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.